The year was 2011. It was March 11th, just another day in Japan's Fukushima. Employees of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant had come to work. They were going about their usual day when a 9-magnitude earthquake struck the region. While most earthquakes last for about a few seconds, this one lasted for about 6 minutes. Needless to say, workers at the power plant were in a state of shock. But little did they know, something far worse was coming. Before we explore that, let's take a look at the map of Japan. Fukushima is a prefecture. It's located on the Honshu Island and faces the Pacific Ocean. Fukushima is known for its agriculture. It produces rice and some cash crops like tobacco. Earthquakes are a fairly common phenomenon in Japan, but the one witnessed in 2011 turned out to be disastrous. It went down in history books as the Great East Japan Earthquake. It was the most powerful earthquake ever recorded in Japan. Reports say it shifted the earth off its axis. It triggered a tsunami. More than 18,000 people were killed. Many towns were wiped off the map. The tsunami flooded the reactors at the Fukushima nuclear power plant. Systems at the plant had shut down after they detected the earthquake. Emergency diesel generators remained functional. They were pumping the coolants, but the floods knocked them out. 3 reactors experienced meltdowns. It left behind melted fuel debris. Eventually, water was used to cool the debris. It became contaminated with radioactive nuclides. 12 years down the line, this water is a bone of contention. Today, about 1,000 tanks hold 1.3 million tons of radioactive water. This is enough to fill 500 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Japan has pumped this water out into the Pacific Ocean. How was this decision taken? This is where Tokyo Electric Power Company, or TEPCO, comes in. It had been filtering the contaminated water. The aim was to remove isotopes, leaving only tritium. Tritium is a radioactive isotope of hydrogen, and it's difficult to separate. TEPCO wanted to dilute the water until tritium levels fell below regulatory limits. Japan is not the only country to do so. Nations around the world have done the same routinely. Tritium is considered relatively harmless. This is because its radiation is not strong enough to penetrate human skin. Why did Japan want to release this water in the first place? Because storage tanks are now full. This brings us to the question of the hour. Is the water actually safe? Japan says yes. The International Atomic Energy Agency also says yes. The UN nuclear watchdog says the impact of treated water on the environment and people is negligible. Japan is trying very hard to make everyone believe in its plan. In fact, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida organized a lunch. He invited his ministers, and what was served? Fish caught in Fukushima prefecture. Not everyone is able to digest the move though.
I personally think this decision was made a bit hastily and lacked communication with the people. I don't think it is the kind of decision that should be made in a short period of time. Besides, the explanations about the safety of nuclear contaminated water currently are not understood well enough by the public. I regret that this decision was made hastily and they started to release the radioactive water on August 24.
We have been seeing how Tokyo Electric Power Company dealt with a nuclear accident so far. So even if it claims to treat the contaminated water scientifically safe for dumping into the ocean, we can't trust its ability. I'm sure there will be problems happening inevitably.
Nuclear engineers in Japan are also asking the government to stop releasing the water. They're calling it a crime against humanity.
The contamination of the ocean is irreversible. It can be said that discharging nuclear contaminated water into the sea is a serious crime against humanity. I think releasing the nuclear contaminated water tainted with radioactive substances is completely different from the discharge of the general nuclear industrial wastewater. The impact of the discharge of nuclear contaminated water into the sea on our descendants after we die is unpredictable. So, the ocean discharge of nuclear polluted water is very serious. I hope it can be stopped as soon as possible.
The issue is becoming political. China has banned all seafood imports from Japan. Many are calling it absurd because China accounted for over 20% of all Japanese seafood exports in 2022. We don't know what will happen next, but one thing is clear. The 9-magnitude earthquake, the subsequent tsunami, and the nuclear meltdown inflicted irreversible harm on Japan. It's called the triple disaster. The nuclear accident alone compels us to rethink the future of nuclear energy. It asks difficult questions. Are we updating ourselves on possible hazards? Are we properly trained to tackle severe accidents? How accurate is our modern risk assessment? How educated are we about nuclear safety? It's about time that we start finding answers to these questions, because if we don't, we might be digging our own graves.